Could a Logia-type water devil fruit actually exist in the One Piece story? I wonder about that. Now, this is a theory that's been around for a while, and it's usually been ridiculed whenever it gets brought up, because most people that react to it are always, no, that's a stupid theory, because water is the natural weakness of devil fruit users, and a Logia fruit that allows you to turn into water wouldn't make any sense. Well, I think it could, and I don't think you would have to break any rules to do so. Okay, so first let's address the elephant in the room. Water is the natural weakness of devil fruit users, therefore you cannot have a water fruit. Well, let's look at that. Water does indeed take away a devil fruit user's ability if they're submerged in it, and they're basically helpless when they're completely submerged by water. They can't even move their bodies in that state. But that's the key. They have to be submerged by the water. It's not like all types of water are damaging to devil fruit users. If that was the case, the 4Kids dub would actually make sense by having the Marines going around carrying fucking squirt guns on their back. They would just, shoot the freaking devil fruit users with water and then, oh no, I've been rendered helpless. No, running water, such as rain and stuff like from a fire hose or something, couldn't actually hurt a devil fruit user unless they actually were submerged in it. And even then, it depends on how much they're submerged in. If they just stuck their feet in like a bucket of water or something, it probably wouldn't hinder them all that much. When they get to about halfway up their body, okay, at that point you might be seeing devil fruit users having their abilities weakened in some form, such as the case with Khalifa when she was taking a bath, when, Nami came in on her. I think Khalifa even mentioned in that moment that her devil fruit was, like, weakened while she's in that state. However, she was able to summon bubbles, so even in a weakened state, she was still kind of able to still use her devil fruit ability to some degree, just not on the full level. Finally, when a devil fruit user is completely submerged by water, they are rendered helpless. When they get dropped into the ocean, they can't move, and they basically drown. It's important to mention that the water doesn't actually kill them. It's usually the consequences of not being able to move, being stuck underwater, and not being able to breathe. But you can even get around that when you have characters that are like fishmen that have devil fruits, like Jack, who is submerged underwater but doesn't die because he can still breathe due to his fishman nature. Also, it's important to mention that this weakness is constant across every devil fruit user we've seen in the story. Now, some devil fruit users, such as Aokiji, are able to nullify this effect indirectly by, like, freezing the water, so they don't actually get submerged by it. But that doesn't change the fact that if they actually submerge themselves, their powers still get nullified the same as every other devil fruit user. Like when Aokiji was taking a bath during Film Z, he mentioned his powers were, weakened in that state. But if he wanted to, yeah, he could just freeze the water and he wouldn't have to worry about falling into it, but if he did, it would still have the same effect. And then you get weird examples like Senor Pink, who's still able to have the power to swim despite having a devil fruit ability, but even then, he can't actually swim in water, just in anything that's pretty much not water. With that being said, I don't think it's impossible for a water fruit to exist as long as it adheres to the natural weaknesses of every other devil fruit. It doesn't make you immune to falling in the water. Think of it this way. As long as you're on dry land, you can use the effects of the water no Mi the same as you would with any other devil fruit that allows you to turn into an element, like Ace's Mera no Mi. You can turn into water on dry land, and you can use all the effects of the fruit. Maybe you can shoot out like water bullets or use some special effect or something with it. But even so, if you fall into the water, just because you have the water fruit, it doesn't save you. You still can't use your abilities while in the water, and your abilities get nullified the more you get submerged. Another way to look at it is when you start getting submerged in the water and your devil fruit power begins to weaken, you wouldn't be able to turn into water at all. You'd just be like a normal human that's drowning. It's not like, oh no, I'm being covered by water, I'll just turn into water and then, manage to escape. I think it would be like, oh no, I'm halfway covered in water, I can't turn into water to escape, so therefore I'm fucked. So yeah, as long as the water fruit adheres to the common weaknesses of all devil fruits, as well as all the traits that devil fruits exhibit, I don't see any reason why it couldn't exist. Also, think of it this way. We've gotten a lot of rules with devil fruits throughout the story, right? One such rule was one person cannot consume more than one devil fruit. This was explained in the Enies Lobby arc, as well as I think in an SBS, Oda talked about it. If one person tries to consume more than one devil fruit, then their bodies will explode. So, it was already set in the fandom like, oh, okay, that's why people aren't running around with more than one devil fruit. Until, Blackbeard was a fucking thing. And that's why that scene in the manga was so terrifying, because it broke a rule that was already established. We thought it was impossible, but there you go, with Blackbeard, through some method, managed to have not only his Yami no Mi, but also absorb the power of Whitebeard's Gura no Mi. And that's why he was fucking terrifying, because he broke a rule. Now, this isn't a set rule. It actually hasn't been explained anywhere in the One Piece story that a water fruit could not exist. exist, but most of the fandom just assumed that it would be impossible. How great would that be for Oda to turn it on his head? And you know that Oda would love to do that, because he's done that shit before, you know? So at one point in the story, we find out that a water fruit exists, and all the fandom's freaking out, as well as the characters in the story are freaking out, because they just assume that just wouldn't happen. But it's never been clearly flat out stated in the story that it couldn't exist, so I think this would be a perfect point for Oda to surprise the fan base at some point along the story and strike some fear into us, the same way as fear got struck into us by Blackbeard absorbing 2 Devil Fruit abilities. So next up, I'm actually going to talk about some Devil Fruits that already exhibit some effects that are similar to water, as well as fruits that pretty much already use water as the basis for their powers, okay? Case in point, Monet from the Punk Hazard arc. Monet was a Logia, and she had the Yuki Yuki no Mi, which allowed her to turn into snow. Last time I checked, snow was fucking water, just frozen. But it's still water, it still has the same chemical compositions and shit, so technically she has the power of water at her disposal. Now that's not to say that, you know, a water fruit couldn't exist, it's just in a different form, but I think the fact that she's using water as a weapon in a way of speaking, just not in the liquid form, I still think confirms that there could exist a water fruit in its actual liquid state. Also, we have Aokiji. Now, Aokiji's a little weird, because he has a fruit called the Hi no Mi, which is the chili fruit. It's not actually called the ice fruit. One way of looking at it, and there's no transition either way. There's no, like, he turns into water first and then freezes it. He turns directly from his physical body into ice. Now, remember, the human body is mostly made up of water anyway, so it's possible that his ability might just be the power of cold itself, that he's able just to freeze the moisture in his body as well as all the moisture around him and just skip immediately from his physical body to ice, and that he can manipulate ice itself. You know, like, he can summon, like, spears of ice and shit and chuck it around, but even so, ice is still fucking water. Also, you have to consider that water isn't the only liquid that exists. There's been other Devil Fruits that have used a liquid as a power, so even if there isn't a water fruit somewhere in the story, there could exist a character that has a Devil Fruit that has a liquid power that pretty much gives you all the properties of water anyway. Probably the biggest example here, canon in the story, is Karibo. Karibo had the ability of the Numa no Mi, which basically summoned mud, but it also had a secondary effect which allowed him to store seemingly an infinite amount of things in his body. He became a swamp man. That's something else too. If the water fruit did exist, it might have abilities that go beyond just normal water. It might have maybe purifying abilities, healing abilities, other things that exist. Just because, you know, Karibo had the mud fruit or the swamp fruit, that doesn't immediately mean that, oh yeah, you're a swamp man. Therefore, obviously, you would be able to contain an infinite amount of shit in your stomach. So Oda takes some liberties with this and extends it beyond. Same thing with the Hobby no Mi, how it was able to turn people into toys and erase people's memories, which seemed like 2 completely different fucking powers, but yeah, so Oda can take some creative license with this, maybe give us a water fruit that does have the ability to manipulate, you know, moisture and water in its liquid form, but also has another effect that would maybe be more dangerous or more helpful depending on what it is. Also, just introduced in the story was Charlotte Galette, the Minister of Butter, one of Big Mom's daughters, that has an unnamed Devil Fruit that allows her to manipulate liquid or fluid in some way to bind her opponents, as she did with Nami. We don't know what the Devil Fruit's class is or what it's called, but it clearly can manipulate liquid and fluid in some way, shape, or form. We also have a few movie and filler characters that have exhibited abilities that are sort of similar to this. We had Gasparade from the 4th One Piece movie that had the power of the Ame no Mi, which allowed him to turn into a candy syrup kind of substance. It's also important to notice that Ame could also mean rain as well as candy in the One Piece universe, so I don't know if they were trying to go and do something with that, but it's interesting to note. Also, we had the Honey Queen in the 2nd One Piece movie that had the power of the Toro no Mi, which allowed her to turn into a type of jelly substance, but it had consistency of water at times in the movie. Now, you might be thinking that these examples don't matter because they're from fillers and movies, but they actually do, because remember, whenever a filler or a movie character uses a Devil Fruit, they have to get that checked by Oda first. They go to him and basically say, hey, we were thinking about using this Devil Fruit for this character, or is that okay? And Oda will say yes, or he'll say no, I plan on doing that later in the story. Now, movies and filler don't really abide by, you know, the laws of One Piece. They can kind of do their own thing a lot of times, and a lot of stuff happens in them that is kind of wacky wacky. So you'd think a water fruit would be like the perfect opportunity there. You could mess around with that in the land of movies and filler where canon doesn't really apply. But they might have went to Oda. I'm not saying they did, but they might have went to Oda and they might have said, hey, we want to use this fruit for the movie, and he's just like, no, you can't use that. I'm going to do that later in the story, or something to that effect. Finally, before I go, I'd like to discuss a theory that sometimes goes hand in hand with the water fruit theory, and that is, if the fruit did exist, who would have it in the One Piece story? And most people point to Shanks, because Shanks is like one of the most, powerful characters in One Piece. He's a Yonko, and his devil fruit is unconfirmed if he even has one. Now, I don't put a lot of stock into that theory. I don't think it's ridiculous or anything. It's just because that I would really prefer Shanks to not have a devil fruit power. I would like to, the fact that he attained the status of Yonko, and that, is because of his prestige. The fact that he was a member of Gold D. Rogers' crew, and that he's just wicked powerful with hockey and his swordsmanship. He's so powerful, he doesn't need a devil fruit, and he became one of the most revered pirates in the world without one. I think that would speak volumes more about Shanks than him just having an OP devil fruit ability, and that's the reason that everyone's scared of him. But I just wanted to mention that because a lot of people bring it up. So with that being said, what do you guys think about the water fruit? It's okay if you still think it doesn't exist. I just think that just throwing out the fact that water is the natural weakness to devil fruits, and therefore there can't be a water devil fruit, I just don't think that holds a lot of water. Okay, I'll slap myself for that pun, I'm sorry. No, I need another one, that was pretty bad. Okay, but the fact of the matter is, as long as it still has the same weakness to water, I don't understand why it couldn't exist. If that's the only thing you gotta go on, I think that's kind of shaky at best. Who do you think would have the water fruit if it did exist? Maybe it's a character that's not even introduced yet. What kind of abilities would it have? I mean, certainly you would have the abilities to, like, maybe shoot water and maybe turn into, like, a, vortex or something like that. And hey, here's another thing. Like I said, most of the body is composed of water, so if you had a water fruit, maybe you'd be able to manipulate humans. We're kind of going Avatar The Last Airbender bloodbending with it, but it's still possible to do that. Maybe it has a secondary ability, like I said, an ability that's not very obvious. Water is usually a sign for purity and stuff in some cultures, or healing, so maybe it has something to do with that. Man, healing water. I'm still going with Avatar The Last Airbender here with water bending. But, yeah, anyway, what do you guys think about the theory? Comment below and all that shit. Like, subscribe for some more One Piece theories. Thank you guys for watching. This will be Tekking101 signing out.